guys, welcome back to another video on modeling the ADC plane. So in this video, I'm just going to briefly show you how you can model things like this propeller, which is obviously pretty complicated. And though you can just go ahead doing it by yourself, what I would recommend is using open source CAD that other people have done, because it's not relevant for our purposes to have the propeller exactly as we want it. What's important is we have the weight and the rough size and shape. So you could just really simplify it just by doing a sort of cylinder and then getting two kind of things protruding from it. But if you want it to look more like an actual propeller and you don't want to have to go through the hassle of making it yourself, then you can use this awesome website called GrabCad Community. Do grabcad.com and go to the library. And then in this library, you can just search propeller. See what this brings up. This bring up anything useful? Okay, I'm going to go for RC plane. Oh, what did that do? RC plane propeller. And you can just scroll through until you find something that looks similar to what you're wanting. So, for example, I know this one here. It's not exactly what we're wanting. Neither of these are, but either of them would be completely fine for our purposes, where we just want something that looks like a propeller and we can add the weight and edit the size. So I'm gonna click on this one. I think this one looks good. And you can see it loads up some pictures, but what we really like is this SolidWorks part. So you can go ahead, download the parts for it, and then open them on your computer. I'm gonna show you the SolidWorks part I used for my propeller. So if you see here, it's propeller, it's slightly different to the one we're actually using. This is like the specs on it, but I didn't need to model it. I just needed to get it from somewhere else, import it, and then scale it. So the scaling part is important, um, because the propeller you get will probably be a different size, and you want it to be 9 inches, at least if you're using the same propeller I am. So the one way you can check, what you first want to do is check the size of your propeller. So go to evaluate, measure, and then just measure the distance from the tip to the tip. And you're going to want to, this distance here, this is the distance from the tip to the tip in millimeters. You can change it to inches up here because our propeller is in inches. So let's go inches. So as you can see, I have predefined it now as being 9 inches, so it's the same. Let's say for the sake of argument, yours was 10 inches. You need to make it smaller. Therefore, you need to multiply and you need to scale it by a factor of 9/10. If yours was 10, you want it to be 9 inches. If you multiply by 9 over 10, you get it to be 9 inches. Easy math. So for that, you're going to use the scale function, which just scales everything in the model by a certain value. So if you see, the value I used was this because I used the SolidWorks tool where you can just do a number divided by another number, rather than trying to compute the fraction in my head or something. Just do one number forward slash another number, and then this was the value I got. To find scale, go to tools, go to insert, features, and then scale is here. Insert feature scale, and then you just apply the scale value you want it to be. And then once you've done that, you're pretty much done. You're also going to want to define the mass. Remember, we went over this before. Evaluate mass properties, override mass properties, and then my propeller is 14 grams. Put in 14 grams. Okay. Ta-da, we have a propeller of 14 grams. And that's pretty much it. It's not going to be exactly the same, but it's a whole pile less work than making it from scratch, and it's pretty close, and for our purposes, it's completely fine. And then what you're going to want to do, once you've chosen your propeller, you're going to want to make a motor mount. I'll just briefly show you this part so you can see what I did. So I made it basically a cylinder with some other cylinders, and just make sure that the radii of these fit your propeller exactly. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching.